Welcome to War of the Andes, a conflict simulation system to portray various current military scenarios involving Chile, Peru, Bolivia, and Argentina. This is a two-player short scenario facing Chile and Peru, in which Chile can score objectives by advancing over Bolivian territory. Peru uses all its southern region forces, Tacna's cavalry, Moquegua's armor, Puno's mountain infantry, plus a wide array of helicopters. While Chile can use all its forces in Arica and Butte plus part of its 1st Air Brigade. The 2nd Armored Brigade at Iquique can only advance into Bolivia to take objective locations, and it functions as a timer for the scenario. Chile, as the aggressor, starts with -1 objective. Before the conflict breaks, each side can activate a formation to deploy within its borders as preparation. Chile chooses to rush their armor brigade into Bolivia, where their real objectives are. Although, that decision will hurt the starting logistics of their northern front. Peru, on the contrary, will try to push hard right from the start, advancing its 3rd Armor Brigade to defend the border. The decision here is to yield no ground, and let casualties take their toll on Chile's plans. At the start of day 1, Chile activates its 2nd Air Brigade. This formation is comprised of strategic air assets. It chooses the KC-135 aerial refueling aircraft. Then, Chile activates its 1st Air Brigade, located in Los Condors Air Base near Iquique. It will use its A-36 tactical bombers to attack the Peruvian armor defending the border. Chile also deploys an Hermes UAV, and F-16 fighters for protection. 2 A-36 formations attack the tank company at Los Palos. Both failed to cause damage. The other 2 A-36 strike at La Yarada, and one manages to damage the tank company. The reduced company takes a casualty marker. The attackers may be intercepted only immediately after, so Peru chooses to activate its air force, and sends all their MiG-29 and Mirage 2000 to the area. Since Chile has an active tanker aircraft, the F-16 escort will be able to fight back the interceptors twice. A couple of MiG-29 are shot down, but also 2 F-16 are downed. Both Mirage formations dogfight with no effect. Meanwhile, Mi-17 Peruvian helicopters dodge Arica long-range NASAMS air defense, and medevac the tank crews wounded during the air strikes. The evacuated casualties are taken to a headquarters, to be returned to the casualties track. Next, Chile activates the 1st Armored Brigade to begin the land assault. Mechanized infantry advances using the Hermes UAV to avoid being ambushed. After the successful assault, the aircraft returns to base. A second assault is followed by the Leopard 2 tanks, that overrun the position. The defeated Peruvian T-55 company is placed in the casualties track, along with the casualties that couldn't be evacuated. The advance over Tacna continues with artillery units taking position to support the mechanized and armor assault. The defenders manage to ambush and reduce the attackers, but the offensive barrage help their attacks succeed nonetheless. Casualties pile up quickly on both sides. Peru activates the 3rd Cavalry Brigade, to push back the invaders before they can be reinforced. Casualties are assembled and evacuated to La Cumba. Engineers set up defensive fortifications. And the 2 reduced armored reconnaissance companies are reformed into one full-strength unit. Then, the defenders move out with artillery support, and manage to destroy reduced Leopard 2 tank company. A second attack also manages to overrun a reduced mechanized infantry company. Chile forfeited to use defensive artillery barrage, and thus, a single Chilean engineers unit flooded with casualties is all what remains standing. Chile hastily activates its 6th Division to reinforce the invasion. Logistics units rush north, to form a line of supplies from Iquique. Forces from Peru set out to secure northern approaches. Engineers start deploying around Arica, to ease military traffic around the city. Then the motorized infantry pushes north from Arica, successfully assaulting Tacna with artillery support, and overrunning the enemy at the flanking La Yarada. The last reduced Peruvian tank unit is destroyed, and placed in the casualties track. Peru activates its mountain brigade. An armored reconnaissance unit is sent to rush onto the Chilean flank, trying to divert resources from the Tacna offensive. 2 attacks are repelled with the help of defensive artillery barrage, but the Chilean forces are running low on ammunition to keep up the fight. Here too, the lack of logistics support could become critical very soon. The rest of the mountain infantry brigade starts deploying south. These forces form a strategic reserve that can greatly help contain the invaders, if the Tacna defensive line is not broken before they get to reinforce it. Chile activates the Army Aviation Brigade. This is a wide selection of airborne forces, but since their headquarters is based near Santiago, far from the area of operations, only one of them can enter the scenario each day. A Super Puma transport helicopters are readied at Los Condors Air Base. Then they are sent to Tacna, to resupply a unit, and evacuate casualties. The helicopters manage to evade Lacomba's area air defense, and take the casualties back to base. Peru activates what is left of the 3rd Armored Brigade. Engineers set up to improve military traffic in and out of Tacna. Then, the mechanized infantry quickly assaults the invaders' flank with artillery support. Chile activates its 2nd Armored Brigade, finally to cross the border into Bolivia. The first unit secures an objective at Huachacola. According to scenario rules, the unit is spent and given casualties. Then the objectives track is adjusted, bringing Chile closer to victory. The other units of the brigade continue their advance eastbound, trying to take advantage of the few scattered urban areas in the Atacama Desert, so as not to spend their own fuel supplies. Peru activates the Southern Region Command. With a few combat forces of its own, the command orders a 2nd mechanized assault along the coast, overrunning a reduced Chilean infantry, and dangerously exposing the invaders' flank of artillery positions. Most of the Southern Command forces are supporting units, but an artillery company from Molendo heads south along the coast. And the Puma Mobile Special Forces Group makes a vertical insertion into Visvarichrana, to assist in the flanking of the main invasion column. The logistics and transport companies head south from their headquarters, to form a cohesive line of supplies, from Puno and Arequipa, to the front, in and around Moquegua and Tacna. Mind that every supply marker, produced every day at a headquarter location, can restore 4 levels of supplies, to 1 or more units. Finally, Peru activates the Army Aviation. This force of transport aircraft, mostly comprised of Mi-17 helicopters, is vital to evacuate casualties, and resupply frontline units. 2 of these helicopter squadrons will fully resupply the mountain units flanking the invaders from the north, and evacuate the casualties that resulted from their repelled attacks. These casualties are taken to Arequipa headquarters, and returned to the casualties track. Three more Mi-17 squadrons, flying from Vitor Air Base into Tacna, will manage to fully resupply the besieged defenders, and evacuate all their casualties. The NASAMS air defense system at Arica used up almost all its missiles at long range, but failed to intercept any of these daring flights. A fourth flight, by upgraded night-capable Mi-171, safely resupplied the artillery unit at Ait, and evacuated casualties from La Cumba. A final flight by Antonov 32 aircraft, para-drops enough supplies for both mechanized infantry units harassing the Chilean flank. Now it's the night operations phase, where all night-capable land units can be activated again, and night-capable aircraft, unused yet this day, can be deployed. Chile activates the 1st Armored Brigade night units in Los Palos, to strike the Peruvian night forces, before they overrun their position in Tacna. Both Chilean armor and mechanized units sent in, are ambushed and reduced by Peruvian engineers' minefields, but manage to strike and eliminate the enemy armored reconnaissance company. Peru activates the Air Force night operations helicopters. A Mi-171 squadron flights to Tacna. It resupplies the engineers' company, and evacuates the recent casualties to Arequipa. The Peruvian Air Force dispatches an upgraded Mi-35 squadron to Tacna. The helicopters engage Chilean forces with no effect, but manage to evacuate casualties to Arequipa. The initial Peruvian advantage on these resupply and medevac flights is notorious, and it is being exploited by Peru as a strategy. Numerous casualties affect the Chilean units' mobility, line of supply, and eventually, the political support for the campaign. But Chile still has an ace up their sleeve. It activates the 1st Air Brigade to use the 2 available F-16 squadrons. They could make a difference in any part of the front. The commander chooses to target La Joya Air Base, destroying a second pair of MiG-29s on the ground. Peru activates the Southern Command, and orders its special forces to dig in, providing the local forces with a bonus to their ambush ability, and a modest air defense rating. Chile activates its 2nd Armored Brigade. Some of its units will be able to exploit night operations to advance over Bolivian territory. Chrangas is captured, and the objectives track is adjusted in Chile's favor. An armor unit advances over Cork, rushing to achieve a 3rd objective in Bolivia. The objectives track is adjusted accordingly, pushing Bolivia closer to accepting a ceasefire. Will Chile be able to achieve the 2 remaining objectives before the tide starts to turn? After night operations, a check is made for urban control over each occupied location. The city of Tacna is the only hot spot. With a population of 316,000, there aren't enough military units to keep the place in order. The occupying army rolls against civil unrest for each level unchecked. Passes 1, fails 1, receiving 1 casualty marker at the location. Finally, the supplies phase, in which every headquarter location produces a supplies marker, that can in turn be moved by logistics units to be stored or consumed. The city of Arequipa produces a supplies marker that is taken by the logistics unit to the south. The city of Puno also produces a supplies marker that is taken by the transport unit. The city of Moquegua produces a supplies marker that is taken by the logistics unit there to the front at Tacna, where it is consumed to fully resupply the defenders. The supplies marker produced at Tacna, it is stored in the logistics unit in the city. The supplies marker produced at the city of Iquique is passed on along the line of supply, from logistics unit to logistics unit, until it reaches Arica, and is used there to fully resupply the NASAM's air defense system. The supplies marker produced at the city of Arica is itself transported by the logistics unit there to the front line in Tacna to fully resupply the mechanized and armored forces, even if resupplying is required north of Butte and in the artillery positions near Tacna. The supplies marker produced in Butte remains stored there, because there is no logistics unit around to move it where it's needed. That is the final phase of the first day. The foreign aid phase rules are not yet implemented in this scenario. This is what the Northern Front looks like, with Chile barely having advanced anything, and forces gathering on them from everywhere. Meanwhile, in the Eastern Front, the first objectives were quickly taken, but a proper line of supplies is not yet established. Peru is fiercely holding ground, so it appears Chile will have to achieve the two remaining objectives from Bolivia. And yes, the marker for Bolivia should be one step to the left. Sorry about that. But with little supplies left, the defenders of Butte are about to be attacked yet again. Losing Butte would be a devastating blow for Chile. The situation in Tacna is fragile for both sides. But Chile suffers from a debilitated spearhead, plagued with casualties, and the flank exposed, poorly supplied, and about to be attacked. The Peruvian vital air assets are mostly intact, but its air superiority capability has been greatly reduced. Chile, on the other hand, has formidable and expanding air capabilities, but must allocate it very wisely to make the most out of it. With casualties piling up in Tacna and Bolivia, Chile is at the verge of losing a critical step in the objectives track. Medical evacuation must be somehow prioritized. This has been a gameplay demo of the game opening maneuvers in this particular scenario. Everything is still a prototype and work in progress. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed what you saw so far. Feel free to like, comment, share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.